All right, we are back once again. This time, we're not talking about Platinum or the Gold League. It's time to talk about the Diamond League. I'm Traxon. Joining me is none other than the Bully. We're going to talk about our new league, the Elder Division for our 8 Diamond teams. But before we jump into the actual teams, Bully, go ahead and kind of walk us through what we're going to be seeing this year in the Diamond League.
Yeah, so I mean, there'll be one division of 8 teams. Every team will play a single best of three against everyone in the division, so a single round robin best of three. At the end of the 7 weeks, the top 6 teams will make it to playoffs, with the top 2 teams getting a first round bye. Of course, everything is going to be a best of 5 in playoffs, so we'll have 7 weeks of regular season, 3 weeks of playoffs.
All right. And without further ado, let's talk about these teams now. First up in the Elder Division for the Diamond League, it is Acclivity Esports with Mist Vital in the top lane. Cade. I believe I said that 4 times in the jungle. False Agenda in the mid lane. Missing Link 4 at ADC and Trading Flashes support with Incline as their captain.
And they're looking like a pretty solid team. I know they like a lot of those teams broke off from another team that unfortunately had to drop because of roster issues
Mhm.
in like the last couple of days. But this teams their average, I guess, season was around the D2, D3. A couple of their players were D4, but they had a Diamond or Masters Peak player who actually ended D4. We had a Diamond 1 Peak that actually ended D4. So they're honestly on the like lower end of the actual season 21 rank average for the league, but I think they do have the potential to at least make it to playoffs. And in the playoffs is where people can adapt aggressively and can beat any team.
Yeah. And let's talk about the next team that we are going to be introducing. It is CB Diamond with Super V7 in the top, Don't Type Jungle, Lil Chovy in mid lane, Timeless ADC, and Condorex at support.
Yeah, and they had a couple subs. They have Daddy Show, HTK777, and Crawl as their subs. Um, I'm kind of curious to how we see this roster. I know Daddy Joe was like a mainstay last season. I know he duos with Timeless a lot. I'm pretty sure they do it all like their rank games, but this is a returning season 6 champions of BOL, and they already claimed that they're gonna win this season. So let's see if they can live up to that.
Yeah, we'll see. So we'll see if they're able to repeat it. But they got to go through the next team that we're going to talk about. And the third team that we are introducing is Goth Boy Click with I'm Yoshiishi in the top lane. Mid is Demon in the jungle. Hamlet mid, Knight of the Zed at ADC, and Nahor at support.
It's gonna be an interesting team. Um,
Mhm.
because their ranks are all scattered around. Yes, they have a couple of like high diamond players, but they do have a few like platinum level players, and I believe they're just like one of the only teams that actually have platinum level starters, and that's a team that's gonna need to work on their individual gameplay throughout the season, or they will miss playoffs. But I know they are playing in a couple of leagues. I know they're playing in UML, and maybe that will help them along a tier, getting their teamwork up and their individual skill up to compete with these other teams.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that playing in other leagues is going to help you with. You can scrim all day, you can go in solo queue, but nothing beats the actual league environment. Up
I agree.
next, the next thing we're going to introduce, it is ISU Genie Diamond with Bleeding Feet in the top lane, Riddy jungle, Scott in the mid lane, High Legacy at ADC, Hell at support, Red X, Skull K, and Tortwig as their subs.
We actually already seen a little bit of the team with Bleed and Feed playing in the Platinum League. He he's going to end up playing in both leagues. Yes, we saw him do quite well uh, 2 days ago, but this is going to be a whole another dimension because he will be playing a little bit higher tier players. Um,
Hmm.
I do expect this team to be like on the cusp as well. Their ranks uh, fluctuate quite heavily, but they do have a bright spot on their team of Riddy,
Hmm.
who was their highest ranked player last season and is in the jungle spot. So, especially with the map control a jungler has and can
Yeah.
basically 1v9, I expect this team to be heavily oriented towards following Riddy's calls and directions throughout the whole all the matches.
Yeah, and Riddy's got the champ pull to back it up. That 1v9 kind of mentality. All right. Up next, we are going to introduce Lotus into the Elder Division in the Diamond League. And starting up at the top, it is Accelerate. Jungle is Drops. Babs 2424 in the mid lane. Alistair at ADC and X Dunzy at support.
This has got to be probably one of the better teams this season. Let's just make sure real quick that so yeah, they have just 5 players on the roster right now,
Hmm.
but they already have one of their players who is going to be counted as their cap exception is about Masters 147 LP.
Hmm.
So they do if they hit 100 or 250, they will be kicked out of league, but it's another 100 LP to go.
Yeah, yeah.
But already in that area of being like a really solid player, they have 4 other players who already are Diamond 2 or Diamond 3 and Diamond 4. So very solid roster. I think this is going to be the team to beat this season.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they're able to do. I also like what they play too, in terms of just what works in 5v5, right? Like if you look at the individual champions that these players kind of just pull out in solo queue, like they all mesh really well together when they come together for yeah
Yeah,
fives.
I think they have been playing together for a little bit. I know Dunsey. I've
Hmm.
seen Dunsey before. I haven't seen him actually play, but it feels like they are the type of team that really want to get better, like as individuals,
Hmm.
uh, and they all want to push towards like masters, possibly grandmasters, and maybe even challenger one day.
Hmm. Yeah,
When you play 267 games already, you want to get better.
true, true. I have like eight. Up next, it is MSU BLA HAJ with Sparty in the top lane, Penguino in the jungle, a bird mid lane, Trombone ADC, Sausage McMuffin support, Slepion sub, Void, it's classified, Mao, and Vivir all as their subs as well. So a full 10-man roster coming in.
Gotta love those 10-man rosters.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is like some of their best players, like in terms of rank, is on their bench.
Hmm.
And I'm actually curious to see how this roster is gonna play out if like they are gonna end up putting most of the players that are listed as subs as starters instead. But
Yeah.
it's I think this team is gonna be solid no matter what. It's just kind of a wild card to see what they end up doing throughout the season.
Yeah, I do. I'm a little concerned with their mid laner, but we'll see how their champion pool kind of shapes up because
Why is that?
I do get the vibe they're kind of off rolling in the mid lane a little bit.
You're talking about a bird?
Yeah.
They are. They seem to be like main or support main. Uh,
Hmm.
let's actually take a look at the past because they've been playing a lot of Yumi.
Yeah, a
Well,
lot of
okay,
Yumi.
so last season they did play a lot of Nivea, Ari, Aurelion
Okay.
Sol, Vex. I hope that's not
Okay.
a Twitch mid lane.
I
I'll
hope
cry,
not.
but
I haven't seen
yeah,
Brilliant Soul in
I, I
ages
I
either.
think this is the mid lane and support main type player.
Hmm.
Like they play both.
Yeah, we'll see how they're able to adapt uh, to what we see in the league. Up next, though, our sixth team. It is VBU in Fusion with Marios in the top lane, Snoop Dogg in the jungle, Night Saw L9 in the mid lane, Tiny Asian Boy, ADC, and Sigify at support.
This team is actually going to be quite solid in my opinion.
Mm.
They okay, so I know they had trouble looking for a mid laner, or no, it was a top laner at some point because they like ended up having to play for another team.
Mhm.
But the top laner that they brought in was actually like a very solid top laner. He played quite a few games last season, almost 1,500. Uh,
Mhm.
just going back to the idea of trying to get better, he did peak Masters last season, but he ended D2. So the average around this team was pretty much D3 for their ending rank, and then like their peak rank average was like literally D1. So they have the skill to compete with some of the best teams. And since we know that they're this 5-man roster, we know that they're probably gonna all be starting. I don't expect them to
Yes.
make any quick roster changes to have switch starters out in the last few days.
Yeah, I would agree with you. So we'll see how they will do. I think this will be, I'd say probably one of the top-ish teams within the league. So I'm excited to see how VBU Infusion does this season. And certainly last but not least, it is WLS Scaling Edition. With starting in the top lane, it is Ben Ionia. In the jungle,
I
it
think it's
is
Benoya.
Benoya. You're probably right.
Yeah.
Benoya Jalingo in the jungle. Erlecking in the mid lane. Solbert ADC. Final Ninja support. And it's Ishwan and a Wild Terry as their subs.
We love Solbert.
Hmm.
One of the greatest names known to man. Um, I remember when this team first came about in Risen, it was like basically a meme, and then it just started like they kept on coming back every season. It
Yeah.
was every different edition of We Love Solbert, and this one is a scaling edition.
Hmm.
So I actually have seen a couple of these players. I've played with a couple of these players, like Earl King. I remember playing. I had to sub in for some reason, but Earl King is like ridiculously good.
Hmm.
Of course, that was a lower ranked. It was like a
Hmm.
points league, and Earl King just took over the game, just literally 1v9. But this whole team in general, they look solid. They look like an average of like D3 ish, D2 ish. I would say their peak was D2 ish rank, and then their ending rank was D3 ish. So they're around that mid area of like the actual like throughout the cap, or I guess the highest tier versus the lowest tier. I would say they're within like that middle. So I would put them pretty much as like a fifth or sixth playoff team, possibly fourth. But I don't think they can compete with like the higher average teams as right now unless they have really good synergy right off the bat, and that's what I think that they do have. But they would have to catch a lot of these teams off guard to make a big splash
Hmm.
immediately and like basically like secure first at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. All right. Well, these are your 8 teams: Acclivity Esports, CB Gaming Diamond, Goth Boy Click, ISU Genie Diamond, Lotus, MSU. I think it's like Blahaj. I'm
Lahash
gonna
is
Blahaj. Okay.
Lahash.
Yeah, I wasn't. I've never seen that.
Apparently, it's like a shark from IKEA.
Oh, okay, okay. VBU Infusion and WLS Scaling Edition. These make up your 8 teams in the Diamond League, also known as the Elder Division. I'm looking forward to week 1 on Monday, Bully.
Yep, and we'll get the schedules out. We'll get the rosters out. Schedule will probably be ready tomorrow or like tonight late, but rosters are pretty much already ready. We just got to go run through all of them to make sure the like all the games are updated, all the player registrations are updated. So make sure you get your games in. Make sure you get your player registrations in.
Yes, please get your games in and get your registrations in before the game starts, because there's always like 10 people who 8 minutes or so before the start of the games start sending their registrations in.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
it's has to be done. Has to be done. So we're
Yeah.
looking for a great 10-week season, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah. And with that, thank you all for coming out. Welcome all the Diamond teams, and we will see you all Monday for week 1. Take care.